computer problems here. Something with YouTube. But anyway, let me set up. I'll go to my cell phone. Oh, okay. We're doing it this way. All right, everybody. Welcome to Rick Snider's Washington. Hopefully it's working now. If it's not, I don't know what to tell you. Let's see if we got people on. Sorry about this. So anyway, welcome to Rick Snider's Washington, where you get the whole story. So please like, share, subscribe, and comment. Hopefully, I'll see what the comments are. It's weird. I'm a day late. I guess I'm $1 short. What do we got going on? And give me one moment, and let's just see if this works. The vortex. Okay, anybody out there, just send me a, oh, I see if some of you are, send me a message, see if I can start looking at it. How weird. You try and do this stuff and everything's got to be a pain in the butt. And okay. All right, I can see people on. I can see this is working, but I got, okay, now I can see everything. All right. Well, technology. Bleh. All right. Anyway, welcome to Rick Snider's Washington. And I had my granddaughter's birthday last night, and it actually worked out better that I waited a day because we had a huge storm come by, and we lost power about 8:30, so I would have had the show go black, at some point. So that's why we waited a day. All right, any of the news of stuff going on? A couple things to talk about. Rookie camp is Friday. It's just an hour. I haven't seen the list of everybody coming yet. Of course, the draft picks do. We only have 5 of those. Most NFL teams have somewhere between 40 to 60. So they tend to not quite have that many in past years, but this is only Quinn's second year of it. So we'll see. Hopefully the first rounder's there. Hey, Joel, thanks for coming. And so I don't know if Steve's not here tonight or Todd, but it is a different night. So we're going to do that. That's weird. Okay. Looking at 2 screens, which I'm not very good at. It's on there. So they're going to do that. Let's see. New roster numbers. Connerly's going to wear 72. Trey Amos is wearing 23. Jalen Lane is 87. Medrusso is 56. Krosky Merritt 32. The new kicker, Matt Gay, is wearing 16. So get your scorecards lined up. Gabe Taylor is supposed to be one of the rookies coming for a tryout. Most of these rookies are unsigned people. Some of them are, but they're looking for a chance to jump on a roster since they didn't get drafted or anything. And so the younger brother of Sean Taylor is going to be coming. I'm not Gabe, so I have a right to speak for him. I guess he wants to try and go where his brother played. And I understand the merits of that. I also could see the merits of not coming here, having these expectations on you and memories and tough times. So hey, it's his choice, his life. Wish him the best. We'll see what happens. I mean, maybe they sign him, maybe they don't. I know if Dan Snyder's still on his team, this guy would definitely be signed. But the new regime can act independently. Of course, you heard about the NFL draft is coming. Yay! Cool. I mean, it's going to be fun. Private companies are not allowed to use the National Mall for their own events. But guess what? They've worked it out. It's called campaign contributions and such. But another weird one that comes up, I searched on this, you cannot sell alcohol in the National Mall. That doesn't mean people don't drink on the National Mall. It just means you can't sell it. But they do have special permits on certain areas. So I have a feeling that, they're going to be drinking beers and at this thing. It's going to be, if you know Washington, it's going to be around 4th Street on the National Mall, which is right in between the Air and Space Museum and the National Gallery of Art. I'm sure all of you go into the National Gallery of Art all the time. If you do go to this, I'll just say usually the Smithsonian's close at 5:30, but sometimes they stay open later, and they probably will for this. Air and Space should be all done by 2027 when the draft comes. And I've seen the first third or so of the Air and Space Museum. If you come to Washington, mind blowing what they're doing with this thing, man. I mean, if you've ever seen the old one was like first grade compared to grad school, what they're doing with some really special exhibits. So when you come to Washington, make sure you see it. That night, they'll probably keep it open, and you can go see it too. Hi, Suzanne. Thanks for coming. Joel, appreciate it. Not the same without Todd and Steve. They're probably mad at me on there. Bob, is this where the Beach Boys used to play? Yeah, they played closer to the Washington Monument, which is, I should know this, like 15th, 16th Streets. So a little bit farther down. This one's more closer to the Capitol, but that's where they put the things now, because you can put 1 million people on the mall, and they're saying there'll be 1 million over the 3 days. I bet it's bigger than that on it. And of course, Metro runs and all that. Take the Metro. Don't don't even try to go down there with your car. But the Beach Boys. I saw the Beach Boys play once. Hank Williams Jr. played that night too. I mean, it was 1 million people there. Everybody was drunk practically, and they finally stopped. I mean, they trashed the place. And sometimes it still happens on the fireworks. People come down now at the firework time. They don't do the bands during that anymore. And the next morning, you'll see people waking up. They were on the National Mall. They've been drinking. They're laying down watching the fireworks, and they fall asleep. And the next morning, when dawn comes, we find a few of them and send them on their way home. So that's pretty funny. Gregory, I was surprised we got the draft. And does it help land in the Super Bowl? Actually, the draft is usually intended for teams in the last 10 years that couldn't host the Super Bowl if they were too small or different things, too cold. So 2014 they took it on the road. It's already been 10 years on the road, 11. So I don't think that has anything to do with the other. I think the draft was already pretty much in the works and done when they announced the stadium a week before. But it's nice to see. I think Washington deserves it on there, and it's it'd be a big event. Why not have it here? It's the nation's capital. Joel made a prediction that Washington will play the 3 or 4 prime games this year. I have no doubt. I mean, if I had to do an over/under on how many primetime games, and let's just include Thanksgiving as a primetime game, I think the over/under is at least 4, and I think I would probably go over on there. Paul, I appreciate you coming on there. So it's the draft will be, and of course the Commanders being the home team, sort of like host the draft. So some of you probably work for the Commanders. You'll be working in 3 days there real hard. Certain people, Bob. So that's all they get. They don't get to do anything special with the draft picks or anything, but they are the host. Just like when the Super Bowl is played in the city, that team there, home team, is the host, and all those people have to work a lot too. Want to take a whack at the opening game, Gregory? Well, I think the 2030 opener in the new stadium should be Dallas. Who else should it be? But some people say, why not Philadelphia? Because Philly is more of a rival today than Dallas, to be honest. But they like that historic stuff. I think it'll be a Sunday night game that they'll do it. But you mean this year? Well, the schedule comes out, I think they said the 14th. I think it's a week from tomorrow, I think. But sometimes they pull back, because right now all the NFL teams are seeing the schedule, and all of them are saying, "Hey, we can't do that game. We got a concert or something, or they might share a stadium and worried about things." That doesn't happen as much anymore. But they give them a few days to tell us, "Hey, is there a problem? Do we got to switch something?" And then they come out with it. So it's supposed to be the 14th. So a week from now, we'll know what they're doing. I always enjoy that, just because it tells me where I'm going to be all fall. I used to travel. You start looking at travel stuff then, but I don't travel anymore with covering the games. Nobody pays for it, so that's why. But I think they're going to have. Well, I mean, they said they're going to have 3 Christmas Day games from now on. Oh, that sucks. I'm sorry. I'm not covering a game on Christmas if they do that. Easter and Christmas, God's days. I'm family. I'm not doing it. Come close a few times. I've done New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve a lot. New Year's Day, I don't care about. Thanksgiving, I can live with if I have to work. How many times have we done that? But Christmas, different. I think they'll play the. I think they'll probably play the Thanksgiving Day game against Dallas this year, and then I don't know about Christmas. That's hard, man. I saw last year people had to. In Kansas City, my God, they trot those people out for everything. They played practically every day of the week last year on there. Suzanne don't like the Christmas Day games. Me either, but I don't know, Suzanne. I'm blessed that I have a lot of family, a lot of my kids, grandkids, and all around me on Christmas. Some people don't, and they're lonely and they want something to do, or maybe they're not Christian. They want something to do. So I see why they do this. I'm just lucky enough that I'm busy all day. I guess by 8 o'clock on Christmas night, I probably so tired I could watch a game for a few minutes. But NBA is kind of mad because the NFL is taking over that. But the NFL is a big bully and does whatever it wants. So they don't care. Sorry, NBA. Yeah, it used to be yours, and now it's ours. I think they'll go head to head. The Wiz never played on Christmas because they're not any good. It's always the marquee team, so I don't have to worry about them. I don't think the NHL plays on it. Of course, baseball doesn't. When I go to a Christmas Eve game, Antoinette, yeah, I've done that many a time. One time, man, my wife was mad at me. They played a 1 o'clock home game. I busted my butt to get out of the stadium as fast as I could. My wife said, Mass is at 7 on Christmas Eve, which we attended a Catholic church then. And I swear, I got home, threw on my suit, lived about a mile from the church. I said, I'll meet you there. I crossed in front of the priest at the top of the church. Said, hold on a second, Father. Crossed past him, got right to my wife. They play the music. She looks at me so mad. I said, hey, I got here on time. So, she still gives me dirty looks for that. I had to cover the NCAA Final Four, regionals. Regionals once on Easter weekend, and my game was Saturday, so I could leave first thing Sunday morning. I'm in O'Hare at 6 a.m. Easter morning thinking, hey, ain't nobody going to be around. Oh, that place was cracking, man. It was, the airline people told me a lot of people fly very early on Easter, and then they can join their family, around noon for Easter services. Whereas if you fly on Thanksgiving and Christmas, ain't nobody around. But man, Easter, I didn't know that was happening. Let's see, Gregory, probably be tried from being Santa Claus. Done that. Spurs play 11 a.m. on Christmas versus the Knicks. Wow. Okay, that's crazy. All right. I mean, that's TV. They want all programming all the time, and they take over whatever. They don't care. Just like, Goodell was talking about 16 international games. I don't think this year, but coming soon. Man, that's going to be a lot of it. Imagine we watch on the East Coast, we'll see European games at 9 a.m. That's 6 a.m. in California. And I was in Hawaii recently, and I asked them what time it was. It was like 4 a.m. there. And they're like, try to watch the games at 4 a.m. getting up early. I thought, yeah, it's a little too much. But then you guys in Europe, you're watching them 4 a.m. on the other side. So people will watch. I don't know. I think I'd tape it. Randolph, thanks for coming. With everything Washington fans have deserved, we deserve the great football commerce. Yeah, I talked about that today on my videos. The NFL is very involved in getting rid of Snider. Very involved. To the very end. I mean, Snider didn't want to give the keys to the building up at the very last minute. I mean, I understand Sonny had to give him a call. Gibbs gave him a call and said, stop this. Give him the keys, take your $6 billion and leave. J-Dubs, how much of DC memorials are under construction? A bit. Lincoln Memorial is. Everybody's wanting to be done by July 4th of next year for the 250th anniversary of our country. So they're doing a lot of work. And the Lincoln Memorial is going to have a museum underneath And what I've seen is going to be spectacular. So if you've never been, or if you've been to Lincoln Memorial, now you're going to see something else. I mean, you walk up the steps, there's Abe, you sit there and you go, yep, okay, let's go. I mean, now you have a museum to see. It should be really cool. The guy who owns the Baltimore Orioles now, hedge fund guy, he paid for it all. So not your tax dollars. But I see cranes around. There's a lot of stuff, this and that going on that we're trying to shine up the city for you. Okay, let's see. Joel, Washington will play Kansas City in a primetime game at Airhead. Okay. Are they playing? They're playing Kansas City this year. Yeah, you're right. I didn't pick a game. Okay, so it could be Philly. No, because Philly will play on Thursday. I hope they don't do that. So maybe they play Detroit. Since that was a playoff matchup, I could see that being on Sunday Night Football or the opener. Antoinette, do you think DC will vote to build at RFK? And it's Josh. People have asked me this too. Would they go to Six Flags, which is going to be closing the end of the year? Six Flags used to be owned by Dan Snider, another one of those boom. Six Flags is, I guess, 10 miles from FedEx, more or less. It's farther out in the country on the way toward Annapolis, so it's straight east. I haven't been there in years personally, but it's a nice big theme park. They announced they're closing 500 acres. They're going to sell the land. But it's too far outside the city, and there's no metro near that. So I can't imagine that they would go to the Six Flags site should it break away. And I think the DC Council, after all the hemming and hawing that you're going to hear, you're going to see a story. The deal's busted. They're not happening. Looking at other things. It's all part of the process on there. But in the end of the day, I expect DC Council to vote 7-6 to approve it. J-Dubs, DC's most underrated tourist spot, or my favorite place. Wow, I take people. I like Mount Vernon a lot, which is outside the city, but I really do like Mount Vernon. I grew up just across the river from it. So if I could say that one, Teddy Roosevelt Island is technically part of DC that you come over in Virginia. Notice I'm not saying the memorials. I mean, my favorite memorial is probably the World War II. Pretty cool. It's only about, well, how old is that thing now? It's 20 years, something like that. It's a pretty well done one. I like that a lot. Will the draft actually be on the National Mall? Yes, Dizzy. It's going to be right where 4th Street is. So it will be on the mall. Hey, campaign contributions help get your stuff. Hey, Daniel, glad you're here. J-Dubs, does all the positive news for the team on and off the field extend your career? Yeah, I hate to say this, but I was thinking about, okay, when am I retiring? I was thinking I'll do one more year. Because I have some other projects that I'm really working on that are like passion projects, books, a play I've written, things like that I want to do. I mean, I can sit here and do injury reports for you for the 50th year, but this is my year 47 as a sports writer in town. And, okay, he's got a knee injury, may play this week. I'll do it, but I don't have to have quite the joy in it I used to. But yeah, I'm still doing it. So I like covering it. It's just, I want to do smaller things before I go, So I'd like to try and get my play to the production houses and things like that. I have a new book out next week, matter of fact. Secrets of Caveman Cooking. Should be out next week, but had some production problems, but we're getting there. And I can't tell you yet, but I'm writing a book about your favorite team, and it'll be out this fall. But I'll wait till the contract ink is dry before I announce what it is. So maybe next week's show, I'll tell you the title of it. But I didn't want to write another book, and somebody paid me enough to do it. So I guess I'm hanging around till whenever, I mean, the draft will be cool. So, and the new stadium, I always look at that like that's a long time to, I'll be 70 by then. So not that 70's old anymore, but, I don't like to plan that far ahead anymore. They say man plans, God laughs. It's kind of the way it goes. Joel, the new stadium looks like Raiders. I kind of had the same thought when I saw it, but those were renderings. Those aren't official things. That's just people came up with the idea. Like you see the stadium, and there's the Capitol, and there's the Washington Monument. No, it doesn't work that way. Where you are, you can see the Capitol, but it blocks the Washington Monument. So that rendering was full of bull. There's not an angle that you can see all three like that. I laughed at the president said he had never been to RFK and didn't know where it was. I was like, what? Yeah, but he's not the first politician I've ever heard say that. They worry about where they are. I think the president said it was miles from the Capitol.